Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, City Current CEO, Jeremy Park.
Welcome back to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, empowering the good. And in this case, we're talking about the power of music and the power of musical instruments. That's why we're honored to be joined by Erskin Mitchell, founder and executive director of Successful Inc. How are you doing?
Good, Jeremy. Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate you and City Current allowing us the opportunity to tell our story. I also like to send a special thank out to Diane and Mark Heyman. Thank you.
Well, we have a lot to unpack, and this starts with your personal story. And so growing up in the Mississippi Delta area and knowing the power of music and a musical instrument firsthand, give us your story and what led you to launch the nonprofit.
So, Jeremy, I'm going to try to keep this story real short, and I get real passionate about this story because it reminds me a lot of where I grew up. And as a tribute to my mother, this organization really was founded. My mother struggled to pay for my instrument. I joined the band, and I didn't realize I was going to stay in the band because I was an athlete as well. But the band did so much for me. It introduced me to new friends, music itself. Music is a charming element that charms the soul and it improves your cognitive skills, makes you a better student. Anyway, let me not go off track. What we'll say is Successful Inc. started because my mother struggled to pay for the instrument. She bought me a really top of the line trumpet. Bach Stradivarius trumpet in 1984. That trumpet cost $1,000. That same instrument, it costs you $3,200 now. She paid for that instrument, and I would watch her walk from our house downtown in my hometown to pay just a meager amount on that instrument every year. I remembered that situation, and that instrument carried me on to college and on throughout my career. And the reason that we're here has a whole lot to do with that story. And so now we want to give back to kids who are in band and music programs so that they can have the same opportunity to make an impact on their family and their community.
When you look at, just like you talk about, the sacrifice of a mother, yet the expense of these musical instruments, paint the picture so the public understands the expense of these instruments. I mean, when you look at $1,000 then, $3,200 now, that's why there's a big gap, but a big need for what you do. So talk about, in general, the cost of these musical instruments for the students and the players.
Sure, Jeremy. The average musical instrument nowadays, we would say would be around $1,200. And we're talking about anything from clarinets, flutes, trumpets, trombones, snare drums, violins, piccolos. It depends on what level of instrument you want to buy for your child, or what type of instrument you want to provide. But they're very, very, very expensive. And see, there are not too many ways for people who are underprivileged to reach the level of being able to afford those instruments. So sometimes what a lot of our students are experiencing is the parents are paying for an instrument, and if they've got several kids at home, it becomes a really, really big burden as the years go by. So when it starts to get serious about band and music programs later on, say in high school, sometimes that cost can be a really heavy burden on the parents. So that's when we step in. We build relationships. We have relationships with, I would say, I've been saying 25 so long, I think it's over 25 band directors and music teachers throughout Mississippi and Tennessee. And what we do is we stay in constant contact with these band directors to find out who's in need. We get the story from them. We find out through them, and then we run it through our process. And if that family's in need and we have the instrument, we provide that instrument based on the level of the student. You know, some of our beginner instruments we'll save for the beginner band students in middle school, and some of our instruments for kids at 10th, 11th grade, 12th graders getting ready to go to college. We may provide them with a higher quality instrument so that they can go on into college. And these instruments are provided to them free of charge. We don't charge them anything. And along with those instruments, we give them a music book. We give them all the accessories that we have, cleaning kits, valve oils, you know, key oil, and if they need mouthpieces and all these other things, we provide those as well.
That's awesome. I mean, I think for the audience to understand, just like an athlete needs all the top equipment to be successful and compete at the highest levels and earn scholarships to college, that's exactly what we're talking about when it comes to a musician and having the equipment. And so carry that into how you source all of these different instruments.
So one thing we'll say is our motto is Successful Inc., using musical instruments as instruments for success. The interesting thing about that slogan, it comes to my mind easily because playing the instrument in college on band scholarship allowed me to get my education paid for to come out and become a productive citizen, to work a good job. I worked for the FAA for nearly 30 years as an air traffic controller. So, you know, a lot of times when people ask me, they say, well, how did you get into aviation? Or how did you get into air traffic control? I said, you know what? Almost everything I've done goes all the way back to that trumpet that my mother struggled to pay for. That, you know, it's amazing how, and I always say how God works, because I feel like it's been really a blessed situation. But that instrument was able to make all of the things that I see that's wonderful in my life possible. So, you know, what we want to do with these young people is give them the opportunity. Everybody's not going to go to college, and everybody's not going to, you know, receive band scholarships. But some of our students go on to become professionals, and we want to see them just to make an impact, to be able to deal with that instrument. And the other thing, in this day and time, there's so much going on in the world. There's a lot of turmoil. There's a lot of strife. There's a lot of stress on our young people. One thing I'll say, I played basketball, football, baseball. I ran track. I was in the band. I don't know why they let me in the choir at church, but I was in the church choir. But I played my trumpet at church. You know, but I'll say, being busy and being productive always helps you maintain a balance in your life. And that's what we want to introduce to our young folks. If they can play music, charms your soul. Everybody's impacted by music, you know, so it's therapeutic as well. So it'll keep some people that are on the edge of trouble out of trouble. It'll give someone that's a busybody many things to do.
And I think just like you're talking about, especially for adults who want to make a difference and support youth, this is such an easy way to, just like you're saying, give them something positive. It helps their confidence, their discipline, their identity, their creativity. All of this, it fosters innovation and collaboration. Like, all of this is a positive to be able to pour in. And so talk about, you know, I think for the public, donating musical instruments, that's one piece of it. You mentioned Diane and Mark. I know that was a connection point there, was donating an instrument, but talk about how you can source the instruments and how the public can help get behind Successful Inc.
So one thing I'll say is we've been fortunate, very, very fortunate to have donors, personal donors, and we've been fortunate to have partnerships with local organizations like Memphis Music Initiative and others, and national partners. You know, we have that help us with instruments as well. We've been so blessed to get instruments. What our challenge is now is to try to create opportunities for grants and funds that will help us continue to build capacity. So we've given more than 200 instruments over the years. That number keeps going up. I have to keep up with it, but I'll say we well over, or really close to $200,000 worth of instruments, and we've never had more than say maybe 15, $20,000 in our bank account, but the organization has been extremely successful. We would like our potential donors to understand that if you'd like to give donate an instrument to Successful Inc., feel free. We really recommend that if the instrument is already in good repair, it makes it easier for us. Now, we're not beyond having instruments repaired, but because of the limited funds that we have, we try to get instruments that are already working. But also, they can go on our website, www.successfulinc.org, and make donations to our organization, like some of our parents do, some of our friends, some of the people that like Diane and Mark. They found out about us through someone that knew us. They love what we do. We're doing wonderful work. Everybody's loving what we're doing, and we're affecting the community. A lot of our young people are going to college right now on band and music scholarships because they're receiving an instrument from Successful Inc. Oh my God, that makes me feel so good, and makes me proud of my mother, Rebecca. I'll tell you what, man, my mom was something else, and I really appreciate her, but she's having an effect on people here in 2024. She's not even no longer with us.
Well, I think when you talk about the monetary donations, the financial contributions, that allows you the flexibility to customize what you need for the students. And so I think that's a big, way that the community can help you lift. And when you talk about working with all the different band directors and schools and having firsthand, knowledge of what the need is, talk about that gap when you look at arts funding. We've talked about obviously why music is so important to the youth, but talk about in the larger scope of where we are and why Successful Inc. is so needed in the community in terms of supporting the schools, when arts funding tends to be something that unfortunately gets cut from those budgets for the schools.
Sure, Jeremy. I would say this, it's something I think even with me, it snuck up on me. I didn't realize it until I started this organization, how bleak the situation is out there. I'll say we've got funding that's been cut from band and music programs to elevate other programs that may be more important to a lot of the systems out there. And we're not knocking anyone. What we're saying is that we want to make sure that we fill the gaps. And I'll say this: we've been very fortunate to reignite some of the band programs, legendary high school band programs that the band director that was there 30 years finally retired. There was nobody to take that person's place, and these programs go lay dormant for a couple of years. That kills the program. Therefore, you're stopping the opportunity for young people to go further in their education. You're stopping the community from being more involved in the schools and in young people's lives. So the creative way we use our donations is we advocate for band directors and music teachers as well. There's nothing, it's not beyond us to speak with superintendents, principals, and community leaders. We help them build band booster programs if they have a parent that's really motivated. We go out and we solicit people to be a part of that program so that they can help. The way we use our funds is we provide the accessories to go with the instrument, but we also use it to sometimes to make small donations to an organization, and not very much. We don't get we don't get so much into that, but we will help a really small program build it up from 5 members to, we've seen programs go from 5 members to 50 to 60 members, a program that used to be 200, 300 plus. And so we're bringing the music back to a lot of dying programs. And that's a wonderful feeling, Jeremy, because I think about it sometimes and I say, if we hadn't shown up, I wonder what would have happened, because these programs will go away. And if they go away, the music leaves the Delta and the Mid-South. That's crazy. We are a musical town. This is a musical area. The Delta is where the music and the blues were started. We can't let that happen. We are music.
That's exactly right. And I think, just like you mentioned before, anytime there's a gap, there's a need to step in and offer support and help. And that's exactly what you're doing with Successful Inc. And so wrap up with where we can go to learn more, to reach out, to get involved. So website, social media, where do we go to get involved with Successful Inc.?
You can go to our website, www.successfulinc.org. There's a link for our Facebook page, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You can go on that site and also donate using PayPal or using a credit card, bank account, whatever you want to use. We really need people to understand that this organization is really good for the community. Everything is transparent with what we do. Like I said, I'm a retired air traffic controller. I was military, United States Army officer. I believe in transparency and I believe in honesty. We are going to deal with those funds in the proper way, so nobody has to worry about that. People trust me that know me. And I'll say this, we are making strides that's so important. And if you want to visit our site, you want to follow us on social media, you can see a lot that we do. It's very transparent and it's very wonderful for this community.
Absolutely. Once again, the website, successfulinc.org. So successfulinc.org. Erskin Mitchell, thank you for all you do to power the good. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for coming on the show.
Listen, Jeremy, thank you, man. And I love that jacket, man. You were really sharp there, brother. Thank you so much.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.